Okay, so now the next talk is from Maxim Salnikov. I hope I spelled that right as well. So he's a developer expert, a Google developer expert, is very expert in Angular 2. He's also the organizer of NG Vikings, which happened about a month ago, I think, right?
Yes.
And he will today talk mainly about progressive web apps together. It's your time, Maxim.
Very good. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to present for you guys. You rock. You sit so late and listen to the sessions. So I'll try to be as useful as possible, as practical as possible, and as quick as possible, just to not bother you. Let me try to share my screen with the slides. Entire screen screen sharing slides. So do you hear me? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So I'll go to full screen mode. Yep, progressive web apps using Angular Mobile Toolkit. Let me introduce myself really quick. My name is Maxim. I live in Oslo, Norway. I'm GD in Angular and Web Tech. I run local Angular Meetup here in Oslo, and also I run two conferences. First, Yuri already mentioned, it's NG Vikings. Of course, it's about Angular. Now we plan next year, NG Vikings 2018. Also, I ran a conference called Mobile Era, and just half an hour ago, I kickstarted the event for this year, Mobile Era 2017. This will be the second event, and despite it's for mobile developers, we have mobile web as first-class citizen. So Ionic, native script, React Native, progressive web apps, you are really welcome to submit your papers, your presentations. We opened call for papers today. I'll share the links later. Link is super simple, mobileera.rocks. I have Twitter, webmaxru, so please follow me. I'll share my slides and some repos right after the presentation, so it could be useful for you. A couple of words about Google Developer Experts. This is a program for Google for the persons who are experts in one or many Google-powered technologies or frameworks or methodologies or whatever, for example, like Angular, and who wish to share their knowledge with other developers, other companies. So we are just kind of evangelists, and I'm really happy to be part of this program. If you feel that you are exactly this kind of person, contact me. Back to the track, progressive web applications, super fast about how did we get there? So in early 90s, we created static websites like Hello World, my homepage. Then we were happy to introduce some JavaScript on the page, and we were happy to see Snowflake during Christmas time and all other fancy stuff. Next, Ajax revolution happened, and we got the possibility to send requests right from our page without need to reload. Next milestone is responsive web design, and today's big thing for the web is progressive web application concept. What is it? I bet that Sunny introduced some basic stuff about this. I wish to introduce this part of official name of official description from Wikipedia. You see, this is a hybrid of mobile applications and web applications. But please do not be confused by the word hybrid. This is not related to hybrid mobile applications directly. Of course, progressive web apps could be really nice add-on for hybrid mobile apps like Sunny just presented for Ionic, but in general, this is not hybrid mobile application. This is just mess up with the terms. So finally, what is it? If you go to Wikipedia, you will find 10 properties of progressive web application. And each of these attributes is belonging to mobile world or web world. Some of them, maybe couple, are related to both universes, but in general, what progressive application tries to achieve is to combine the strong parts of both worlds. And here I highlighted which part of API of PWA methodology is responsive for what. So what we call app shell gives us possibility to have app-like experience with immediate start, offline experience, and all the possible optimization of networking is on service worker responsibility. Re-engageable application, these ones that you know, they could bore you with popping up notifications. This is push API. And of course, to install the application, you have to create manifest for this. So what is PWA? This is not framework, this is not library, this is not platform. This is umbrella of APIs, of methodologies, of some practices. So this is a real set of technologies. And the keystone of whole concept, of course, is service worker. I'll mention this entity many times during today's session. It's responsible for the key features of PWA concept. First, exactly, service worker makes this possible for us to have offline experience. And this is not the main goal, because we could reduce the number of requests and optimize the speed using service worker again. And of course, we could provide any kind of fallbacks for absence of network or flaky networks or whatever. And again, even networking is not the only part, not only area of responsibility for service worker. It handles actually many events, many life cycle events of your application. So in addition to all this caching and networking, service worker is responsible for push notifications, for background sync, and for some other stuff. As I mentioned, PWA is umbrella of technologies. Which APIs are involved directly or indirectly in this methodology or concept? Not all of these APIs are related only to PWA. I bet you already used some of them. First, cornerstone, service worker API. One of some types of storage in modern browsers called cache API. In general, this is simple request response storage. Fetch API, it's not part of only PWA. This is just a modern way to send HTTP requests from our scripts. It came to replace this many years player called XML HTTP request. Notifications API, push API. These two work together in most cases, but still they are two separate APIs. IndexedDB, this is asynchronous storage for our browser. Again, in service workers, we can't use local storage because this is synchronous, but IndexedDB will help us to pass data back and forth between, for example, service worker and your application. And of course, it's all based on promises, because you know, it's asynchronous by nature, and we have to deal with it. And fortunately, we have promises as a standard of modern JavaScript language. Can I use all these awesome features? In general, yes, and the only blocker at the moment is Safari, but hopefully Apple will fix this issue soon. At least they give some brief positive signals. But please remember the first name in first word in PWA definition, progressive. So these features should not break your application for older browsers, for legacy browsers. It's all about progressive enhancement. The better browser, the more cool features you could deliver to your client. Okay, now back to Angular. Now we know basic stuff about PWA concept. Let's check what Angular team offers us on this field. And it offers pretty nice so-called mobile toolkit. I bet you've seen this page before. It's on mobile.angular.io. It's for a while there. And as I remember, it's from early betas. And there was a moment when everything worked in CLI using -- mobile flag, but after some changes, probably from beta or from RC4 to RC5, I don't remember exactly, everything was broken. And question number one on issue tracker of this repo is, where is mobile flag? When do you plan to return this back? And the news is no more mobile flag for CLI. Now we are talking about how to build this experience using our favorite command line interface by Angular. But after deeper investigation and after in-person discussions with Angular team, I can say you that no more mobile flag for the moment, because quite soon CLI team will return to us with updated concept on how do we create different types of applications using ng-new command. And mobile will be only one of possible flags. Maybe it will be renamed from mobile to something different, because now actually mobile and mobile toolkit, this term doesn't cover all the concept of Angular service worker. So mobile is just one particular use case. I'd call this I don't know, PWA toolkit, so more general world, but we'll see. Okay, so no more mobile flag. What could we use now? If you go to npm repo of Angular team, you'll see these two guys there, service worker and app shell. Okay, let's go one by one and check what's offered in each of the packages. We start from service worker. This is, as I mentioned many times, keystone of PWA concept, and it's a main working force of mobile toolkit for sure. If you get this package, you'll see four main parts of this. First, some set of service workers themselves, they located in folder called bundles. So in general, this is Angular service worker itself. This is something that you get, something that you deploy, and you you register this service worker on your application page. Next, set of tasks for build systems. Currently, Gulp and Webpack supported, which is quite a good list. And of course, it's integrated to CLI. We'll check it a bit later. Next part, companion library. This is a small library that simplifies our life in terms of how do we communicate with service worker from our application. It's just Angular way of communicating application and service worker. We'll see some examples a bit later. And last but not least, all the tools for you, unfortunately, except documentation on how to build your own version of service worker or how to extend the existing one with plugins. We'll have a look at this as well. Okay, so finally, question number one I received last weeks: how to set up service worker using CLI. First, you install this package. Next, you run this simple command ng set and set service worker variable equals true. And this is just automated way of simple action, like adding this property to Angular CLI JSON to apps node. And you see that now there are there could be more than one application in apps. So we say we set it for the first one, which has 0 index. So right after we did this, how should we check what happened? Let's go and check. Let's build our application. One notice, all these features with Angular Service Worker work only in prod mode, and actually it makes sense. There is no reason to test your service worker in development environment. So once you build your application, you go to your distributive folder called dist, and you will see some new files there in addition to the regular application files. Notice again, I do not recommend you to run command ng serve dash prod. You know this is a CLI command to serve the application during development time. It uses hot reload and some other features that will that can make Angular Service Worker a bit crazy. So it's not intended to run in this super developer-oriented environment. So the easiest option is to build your application and run simplest web server. On my workshops, I run the server built into Chrome extension called web server for Chrome. So absolutely simple static web server. So I specify this folder as root folder, and I serve the application non-using ng serve. So super simple. So these three files, ng-sw manifest. This is a settings file for service worker. Then its worker itself, it's just file copied from bundles folder I mentioned before, and the registration script, the simplest one when you have the basic registration workflow for the service worker, and it includes hash in its name. Also, if we have this service worker equals true flag in CLI settings file, it will add this registration script to our index.html. Very good. We have these new files. We have our index file a bit modified. What we have static caching right out of the box. So once you run this command, once you deploy your application, you run it once, you go offline, and you can check it will work. How that's possible? If you go to check what's inside this ng-sw manifest, you will see that actually this is a list of your files that CLI built for you during this build step, plus some checksums just to validate if the version of file fresh or not. So what's happened? During build step, CLI built this list for you and located and placed it into the static node of this manifest JSON, just to let Angular Service Worker know which files to cache, which files are application shell, the actually application itself, and yeah, without any other movements, you have app shell up and running. On build folder, if you're for some reason not happy with Angular CLI, but it's really hard to find these reasons, you can create your manual flow for exactly this task, generating this list of files to be cached and placing it into NGSW manifest. There are plugins both for Gulp and Webpack. Very good. We have application shell up and running and generated totally automatically for us. What if we wish to extend this manifest with our own properties? For example, we could set up some extra routing. No problem at all. We just create our own NGSW manifest file on the root of our application folder, and this one will be merged with generated automatically. So you can specify any other settings that you can find in NGSW documentation, and these two files will be merged. Just a word about routing. What does it mean? You've seen that there is a pretty explicit list of resources of the files to be cached statically, and NGSW reacts exactly on this list. So, for example, if you will try to run your application after the start without specifying index HTML, it will show you offline dyno. So probably you will be confused. I just set up static caching, and why it doesn't work? Because you have to specify these extra routes to be rerouted. So you see that in the first route, we have this slash, which actually redirects the browser to index HTML, not browser, but NGSW engine to get correct file from the cache. So after specifying this first route with slash, we are pretty safe that application will run offline both using index.html and without. The second property push, we'll have a look a bit later on this. Also, please do not be confused by the name of this file. This is manifest, but this is not the manifest which is a part of progressive web apps. Probably you heard about some manifest connected to web apps idea, where you specify name of application, set of icons, all that stuff for application to be installed locally. No, this is a bit confusing, and I discussed that with Alex from Angular team. So probably it will be renamed to something not including manifest word in its name, because it's really confusing. So in general, your application will have two manifests, one for Angular service worker called NGSW manifest, and second regular manifest for web app, you name it. In most cases, it's called just manifest JSON. Good. So we have static caching. What about dynamic? Maybe you heard about a really cool library called SW precache, where you set up the rules for caching of dynamic content. So, for example, if you go to your backend, something /API/news, you are free to choose how will service worker process this request. Will it go for the network, or will it try to get it from cache? Really nice concept, and Angular team works on implementing the same idea, but even in more sophisticated way, with all this fine tuning possible, including, for example, cache strategy, not just network strategy, but even cache strategy. So this is under active development. So hopefully we will see this really soon. Companion library, just a couple of words. As I told, it's super simple one. You import the service called ng service worker. You instantiate it in constructor using dependency injection, and you are ready to go. There are some useful methods for you. For example, you can check for update, or you can just ping pong some messages between your app and service worker. In some cases, it could be really useful. How to build? So we have Angular service worker called NGSW, or file name called worker basic.min.js, and it's intended. It's supposed to be a main player, but of course, it can't, include all the functionality. And in general, service worker is such a big thing that probably you will have to introduce your own custom functionality. It's also possible via plugins system. So you take this template, you register your plugin, you provide some special functionality. For example, the application specific one, for example, I don't know, background sync, or for example, reacting on notification close if you go for push notifications, and you just use this plugin and build your own version of service worker. It's also in my repo. It works. Unfortunately, no documentation at the moment, but I'll try to do some pull requests based on my sessions and workshops. Push notifications, really a large thing, and it deserves not just a separate session, but a separate day, or at least half day of workshop, but we'll go in just 3 minutes. Okay, push notifications, it requires some infrastructure and some parties to be involved. So we have to have backend for this. We have to have push service, or in other words, it could be named message service. And in case of Chrome, this is Firebase Cloud messaging. And of course, we have to have our service worker, and then we are go. It's quite interesting process with many steps. How you subscribe to push notifications, how you send push notifications from your backend, and how you finally show notifications. But in super simple words, how it's done in Angular Service Worker, you just specify these two flags in NGSW manifest, and in general, you are go. You register for web notifications using our own NG service worker, and you are ready to receive notifications in your browser. Of course, it's super simplified. I do not touch what we have to create at our backend. Yeah, let me back. So in general, it's really not sophisticated, but multi-step. Let me just try to introduce it in 30 seconds. So we clicked on subscribe to push notifications. This moment we sent took our service worker registration, checked if there is push notification object available. Remember, we are progressive, so if for some reason it's not there, we don't have to show JavaScript error. Okay, it's there. We call a method called subscribe. What happens at this moment? Browser goes to the cloud, to message service connected to this one. No worries, each browser knows where to go. So Chrome goes to Firebase Cloud messaging, Firefox goes to some Mozilla messaging server, and it receives so-called push registration there. And how does it look? It's just a long, unique URL of this specific client equals browser. Okay, we got this object. We pass this object to our backend, for example, written in Node.js or PHP or whatever. On the backend, we take care about all these registrations. So somewhere we store this registration in I don't know, array or the storage or whatever. And the moment when we have to send a message, for example, new message appeared in your mailbox, if you implement some mailbox application, we just using some APIs, we send this notification to message service. Okay, message service got this notification, and we send payload plus all these requisites of the specific registration of the specific client. Message service on their turn sends this notification to client, to the browser, using exactly this specific long unique URL. On our browser, we receive the notification from message service, not in our application, because our application could be closed, the tab could be closed, and browser could be closed as well. We receive this in service worker. This is where service worker takes control. It listens for push event, and on this event it decides what to do. It can show this bubble, this notification. It can just ignore this, or it can just even go to backend to get a new payload data, and only then it will show some bubble with notification to the user. So this is really interesting process, and Angular Service Worker simplifies this a lot. So 2 more minutes about the second part of mobile toolkit called App Shell. Why just 2 minutes? Because unfortunately it's not integrated to CLI yet. So this is more or less how it will work. In general, you can do some experiments and you will make this work. But for me, it's not so interesting when it's not in CLI, because this is the main way how we scaffold and maintain the application. So you remember that we already have what we call App Shell cached statically using Angular Service Worker without writing any code. We just set service worker equals true. Good. But what about first load of our application? Really first load, when it's not taken from the cache. We have to download all the assets like HTML, JavaScript, which could be quite large, and only then we can start rendering something meaningful to show to the user. So this second library called AppShell tries to optimize this process to show something meaningful, I don't know, some parts of UI to user immediately. How it's possible? So you all know that we can specify any HTML inside our root component tag, and this will be shown before JavaScript is loaded. This is exactly the place we wish to put as much UI as possible. So we really want to have something there, some structure of UI, some headers, maybe spinners, maybe some messages, and of course we have to have this totally inline, so pure HTML and inline styles. On the other hand, we wish to use our regular Angular components exactly on this step. We don't want to inline all this manually. So we wish to have something like this in our source. On the same, at the same time, we wish to feed to the browser something like this. So it's regular HTML and inline styles. Despite the tags are not regular HTML tags, browser knows what to do with this once, since it has styles specified. So how to do this? How to render initial state of our application? We have really nice tool for this called Angular Universal, and now it's on the stage of integrating to the core of Angular. So soon we'll see some really great development on this idea. And exactly using universal, we can create this. It's not just app shell; it's super performance optimized app shell, especially what's regarding first start of the application. It's quite simple setup. Again, it's not yet integrated into CLI, but in general, app shell module will give us two modes, like pre-render time and runtime. And we as developers will have two nice directives called shell render and shell no render. So you see on this example, for so we will have one single component, root one, and using these two switches, we will have to just specify what we should show to render state, and what should be shown after all JavaScript loaded and after JavaScript takes control and on the state when our application is real dynamic one. So service worker ready to be used. More development is happening right now. App shell will be ready in some, I don't know, I will not name your specific dates, but it's not aborted, this idea, so it will be quite soon. And actually, this is all from me. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know if I have time to take some questions or just, yeah, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, we're in contact with Nathan. I think he even follows the live stream, so I think we can have a couple of questions. Are there any questions regarding this topic? Pure silence. I think it's quite a new topic for everything. For every one of us.
It's not just cutting edge; it's a bit beyond cutting edge.
What was the difference of the progressive web apps of the Ionic session and this one?
Yeah, one question.
Yes.
One question is, what's the difference between the progressive web app part, which was shown in Ionic, and the one you presented here with the Angular mobile toolkit?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen Ionic presentation. So I know that Sunny mentioned this, and I know some efforts from Ionic team on PWA, but I'm not enough deep to dare to say the differences. But I can imagine that there is just a very own implementation of service worker made by Ionic team. So Angular service worker is service worker implementation by Angular team. Probably Ionic team has its own. And furthermore, SW precache, this is say industry standard at the moment for creating all this offline and network experience. It's also created by Google. So different Google teams work on different service workers a bit differently, but they serve one idea to provide all this offline experience and optimize networking.
Other questions? Okay, I think we can close it here. Thank you very much, Maxim.
Thank you for having me. Have a really nice evening, and yep, let's meet on different events. I hope I could visit you in person one shiny day. Maybe we could organize this. Yes, Yuri, we have to talk about this.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Thank you, Maxim.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.